Hi, this is Patricia Stapler with Your Dream Power, and I want to thank you for joining me for this very short but important slideshow on how the mind works. So let's start looking at the mind, and when we talk about the mind, we have to talk about paradigms. And a paradigm basically is a mental program that we have stored in our subconscious mind and controls our habitual behavior. And almost every behavior we have and everything that we do in life is habitual. Sometimes we think about people and we realize that they're not really thinking. They're just going through the motions. And a lot of us tend to do this with our jobs or any activity that we have. We just go through the motions, not really thinking whether things are making sense or not. So if we look at the mind, and this is just what we call the stick figure, and the stick figure is just giving us an image to work with because nobody has seen the mind. Most people, when they think about the mind, they think about the brain, and the brain is not the mind. The mind is in every cell of our body, but we don't have an image of it. It's what connects us to our universal world. You know, if you've ever had the thought of thinking about somebody and then you pick up the phone and it's them, or you run into them unexpectedly in some location, that's because your universal mind is connected with others. And so we have to understand how that all works. So if we use a stick figure and we look at it as the big circle being the mind and the little circle being the body, we divide the mind into two parts. Now, in actuality, there are more than two parts, but these are the two main parts, the conscious and the subconscious. Now, they work completely differently. You see, your conscious mind is where we have our senses going into. So everything around us, everything we see, hear, touch, taste, or smell goes right into that conscious mind, the top part as it be. But within the conscious mind, we also have these intellectual faculties that are rarely talked about. We talk about the senses and we learn those in school, but we rarely talk about these 6 intellectual faculties: the imagination, the intuition, the memory, the perception, the reason, and the will. And yet these are the 6 items in our mind that separate us from any other animal in the animal kingdom. You know, if you think about if you have a pet dog or a cat or any animal, they all have the ability to see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, but they do not have the intellectual faculties that we do. They work completely on instinct, but we don't work on instinct. We work on the intellectual faculties, and yet we don't learn about them and we don't learn how to develop them. All right, well, let's look at the mind again, and the conscious and the subconscious. And in these parts, the conscious mind, that's where our intellect is stored. So everything that we learn in school is part of the conscious mind. This is where we educate people. This is very objective. Our subconscious mind is our emotional part. This is what the ancient Greeks used to call the heart. So if you think of the subconscious as your heart, as your feeling, as your emotions, this is that part. It is completely subjective, meaning that it only does what it's told. It doesn't have the ability to think for itself like the conscious mind does. So we must learn to live from our inside out and not the outside in. We must learn to live from who we really are and discover who we really are, and not living from our outside world. So this is what happens. You know, our conscious mind, we originate, we accept, we can reject an idea, and we think. And that all happens in the conscious part of our mind. That's where ideas occur, and we think about those ideas and they spin around. But what happens is our paradigms or our habitual behaviors are stored in the subconscious mind. And they're stored in the subconscious because we go through these things routinely, like getting up in the morning and getting ready for work. You don't think about every item that you do, like brushing your teeth. You just grab your toothpaste, you unscrew the lid, you put the toothpaste on the toothbrush, and you brush your teeth, but you don't think of all those steps, you just do it because it's habitual. Those paradigms, those habitual behaviors are all in a subconscious mind. That's the part that we just do. So what happens is we get an idea, and if that idea is in conflict with our paradigm, even though it's maybe exactly what we want to do, we have a problem. So let's say your idea is you're going to start a new business, but you've never started a new business of your own. And so that idea becomes in conflict with your paradigm of keep your job where it's safe. And because it's in conflict, the action that your body goes into is nothing. And you remain stuck. And you stay where you are, even though starting your own business is what you really want. This could be making more money and finding a way to earn more money. So you get that idea, okay, I want to go from earning 50,000 to earning 100,000. And even though that's what you want to find a job, you want to find that occupation, you want to find that profession where you're actually going to be earning 100,000. It's in conflict with your paradigm, which says that you're earning $50,000. And so instead of going into action to find that position, to find that occupation, you remain stuck and you continue to earn 50,000. Now, let's look at the next slide where we originate, we accept, or reject. Our thinking occurs in our conscious mind. The subconscious mind can only accept an idea. It doesn't distinguish between real and imagined. So we keep thinking of that new business we'd like to start. We keep emotionalizing it in our subconscious. We keep impressing that idea of what we want into our subconscious. And eventually what happens is, you see that paradigm that's red? You see, we're taking an idea, but we have so impressed that idea into our subconscious through repetition over and over that instead of being in conflict with our paradigm, it's now in complete harmony with our paradigm. And so the action that we go into is different, and it produces the result that we want. So what I want you to think about is where you are and where you're going. What is it that you really want out of life? It seems so simple and so obvious, but yet people remain stuck because they've never gotten into their subconscious. They've never found that way to focus on it and go through the repetition. But once you do, and once you change the paradigm, it absolutely changes your result. So if that is of interest to you, I do this training for individuals. I do it for corporations. I talk about the personalities. I can talk about the communication styles, how to deal with those difficult people, how to manage your time, how to hire the right person, and so much more is available through your Dream Power, as well as the Thinking Results program, where I go through all the mind and the paradigm shifting and so on. So if any of that is of interest to you, please contact me. You can call me. My cell phone number is right there. My email address is right there that you can contact me through email. And you also have my website that has my calendar linked for it. You can set up an online appointment. We'll just do a little chat over the phone or over Zoom, and we can find out how best I might be able to help you to reach your goals and to help your business or your team or your employees, whatever the case may be, to achieve what you really want. Because you really can't accomplish anything you want to in life if you really want it. So thanks for watching this again, and let me know how I can help you. This is Patty Stapler with Your Dream Power, helping you to succeed and move forward in your life.